Episode 3 of season 2. Special Bucks are ahead, I think, 28-23. So going for Tampa, and very proud of my daughter here. 2 daughters here. Jenna got straight A's, did a great job in school this semester. So did Kelly. But Kelly's also been interviewed on Spectrum News, and she is now their voices have changed for the month. And she did 2 stories. I want to show you guys a little clip of Kelly, and then we're going to go to our first special guest, Nick Swisher.
What got you pulled into all this?
What got me pulled into it? I love Kelly. I love Mike. They're great people. They do fantastic work for their community, for people, and that's what we need in our world is super nice people who are willing to make sure everybody is good. And I'm sorry I keep looking over to the right, but my dogs are chasing a squirrel right now.
Oh, man.
I think that squirrel got away.
No, that's great. That's all I needed. But hey, thank you for your time, and thank you for jumping on this FaceTime with us all of a sudden. That's awesome. That's also a testament to
Kelly,
Mike too.
Well, Kelly, man. I mean, he's like family to us, Johnny, and we love you. And we'll see him in 2 weeks. I haven't seen him.
We have to do it, and don't be upset if things don't work out. But bring your A game always. Mike, I love you.
What means you have a guy like Johnny David on your team?
That our reach is really big, and that we are impacting a lot of people across not only North Carolina but the whole nation, the whole country. I wanted to write about kindness, acceptance, just good things that we don't hear about as much, especially in the middle of the pandemic.
And why was that important to you?
Because I've had many experiences in my life where I feel like there's been a lack of kindness and inclusion. So I also wanted to use my story to help others and show other people's stories, and hopefully get people together to promote kindness and acceptance, humility, love, and other positive things that I think we don't see as much in the world today.
Gotcha. So, talk.
Still a car where people feel profiled or divided based on their race. I think we all need to come together as one and have unity and really love each other, not based on our differences, but instead celebrate our differences and understand our differences aren't something to be feared. There's something to be celebrated and accepted.
And final question, what gives you hope for the future?
Well, part of my generation, I've noticed, is that while some may dismiss our generation because we're young, maybe unknowledgeable, I've noticed my generation really speaks out, and given that we are the next generation of adults in this world, I think we really have a good future. And a lot of people in my generation, they use their voice and they speak up for what matters most, and they're very united with each other instead of divided. Something I've witnessed in my own community of friends.
Anything else you'd like to say?
I like to say just to be kind and not let differences divide you. Instead, see my disability, and what I think a lot of people might see is that a disability means there are physical limitations. I've tried cheerleading at certain places, and I've tried excelling in school, but sometimes people just don't see that and instead see my disability when I really have more potential. But I think because of disability, they only see the limitations instead of what I can truly do as a person.
What do you start every YouTube interview session off with when you begin?
Really cool. So that's the cheerleading. So Kelly and Jenny, you girls are cheerleading next weekend in Myrtle Beach. And so proud of these girls. And Kelly, what you do for the special needs community to help out your fellow kids is amazing. And look, this has been about a year since we lost Kobe Bryant. He's the ultimate girl dad. And I think we got the real ultimate girl dad coming on the show right now. I think we can get him in backstage. Mr. Nick Swisher, who's a baseball legend, but he's also the girl dad that I look up to. So let's see if Swish is backstage and bring him on. My brother. Looking good.
I'm a girl dad, bro. You know I'm a girl dad.
We all are, man. So my girls, and I'll show you something you did for Kelly a couple of years ago, which you probably forgot at one of those Cannon Fitzgerald charity days, but we got a cool clip coming, but I'm going to surprise you with it. So, but yeah, just wanted to talk about, man, what's been going on. Girl dad responsibilities. You have a 7-year-old Emmy J and 4-year-old Saeed, and how's the pandemic this time? I know you did a lot of road tripping last summer. I think you even hit North Carolina, the Biltmore. You were all over the place. So talk about.
Freeze? Did I lose you?
I think you did.
Oh, no,
I think,
we're there. I see you.
yeah. Can you hear us, Nick?
Yes, I can. I can see. I'm looking at the picture of us over at Cantor.
Oh, yeah, that was us. That was Johnny B and Laritz. Yeah, that was a great time, the charity days. And I want to talk about the charity work you do as well for St. Jude's. That's prime, man, what you do and your dedication to philanthropy. But talking first, this is a dads and daughters show. Talk about your girls, man, and how much responsibility you devote to your little girls.
Oh, I mean, come on. That's all I do. I'm like I'm a short order cook. I'm a school teacher. I'm a bus driver. I'm a taxi cab from time to time. I mean, anything my girls need at this moment, you know, I'm one of those lucky guys, man. I've been so fortunate. I've got such an amazing family, and I'm so blessed to have all my girls in my life. They take care of me. They make me whole. And Mike, you know, bro, it's just like there's a relationship that happens between a father and his daughter that is unlike anything else. And coming from a guy that is off the walls, all over the place, is one of the biggest bros of all time. The fact that I have 2 daughters is absolutely crazy. So it's been an unbelievable blessing for us. You know, Joe and I were so blessed. And just to be able to be where we are right now, man, we're just trying to soak up as much time as we got.
Even the ones on the phone, right? That's what happens when the teenagers, they can't look up from their phones, but it's all. Swish, I know your grandmother was a big influence on your life growing up, and talk about how you honor her memory. I know she was very special to you, your grandmother.
Yeah, huge. I mean, you know, I think there's 2 women in my life that have really altered the human being that I am, and one would be my grandmother, and one would be my wife. So to be able to have a relationship with you know, my grandmother the way that I did. I mean, dude, I keep going back to just gratitude and humbled and lucky and blessed, because not everybody gets this sort of stuff. And to be able to have the relationships that I've had in my life that have molded me from a young boy into the man that I am today. There's a reason why I guess I was supposed to have girls, right? I mean, to be able to have the relationship with my grandmother, and to be able to honor her by looking up and putting her at the top of the stadium, you know, when I hit my home runs, to be able to give her honor, that was just an unbelievable, amazing woman in my life. And I know she would be having so much fun with my girls right now if she was still here. But I know she's smiling down on us all the time.
Oh, I know your dad, too, was a Major League Baseball player. I grew up in that era where I watched your dad when he's Cubs and a great catcher. I played for the Cardinals, I think the Padres as well. I have his old baseball cards somewhere in my collection. But what did his influence mean to you growing up? And you guys were both all-stars. I think he was an all-star, I'm thinking, in either late 76, maybe I got it right. And then I'm going to show that picture. That's our guy, Yogi. Well, we're going to get to Yogi in a minute because I want to talk to you about that's when I first met you at Yogi Berra Museum, and Yogi loved you. But your dad, Steve, obviously, what did his influence, and is that how you got into baseball, through his influence, or was it something else?
No, you know what? I mean, I just so happened to have a father that played in the big leagues for 10 years, but not one day in my life did he ever force me to do one single thing. You know, I had the type of dad that he didn't care if I was a musician or an artist or, you know, a trash man. He just told me whatever I was going to do, work to be the best at it. And it just so happened for me, the good Lord blessed me with the passion to play the game of baseball. And that's really where everything kind of took off for me. You know, I mean, being able to have my dad down here has been absolutely an unbelievable thing for all of us. You know, I mean, we were both able to be first-round draft picks. You know, we were both able to be all-stars. I got him on that World Series ring, though, so.
You did. Yep, 2009. You got that ring, man. So I know you love your Ohio State roots. So that's all I hear you ever talk about is Ohio State. And actually, you know, I've been good friends with Urban Meyer, the coach who just got the Jacksonville job. I think we got a picture of me and Urban and Kelly because he comes to Tim Tebow's event every year.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Tebow's really an awesome guy. So we've gotten to know Urban very well through the Tim Tebow golf outing. He comes down every year. Now he's in Jacksonville. And so what do you think of that? I mean, you're a huge Ohio State fan. I'm sure you worship Coach Meyer. And I know that's all you talk about. And they got a field named after you as well, I believe.
Yeah, man. I mean, what an honor for them to name the baseball field after me. I think that might have been in 2010 or 2011. And then just to be able to leave a mark somewhere, right? To leave a mark for the better and to be able to kind of pay it forward and to be able to help these young athletes achieve the same things that I did. But, going to Coach Meyer. I mean, come on, he's a coach, man. Like, who doesn't love Coach Meyer? I mean, he's got swag, he's got an air about him, and he's a winner, right? He's a leader, and he's somebody that you want to follow. So, I mean, I wasn't a Jacksonville Jaguar fan before, but I immediately am now just because of him going there. I think he's an amazing man. He's always been first class to me, shown me nothing but respect. We text every now and then. So I think for him, I mean, for me, I want him to have all the success in the world. I mean, obviously, I think he's going to get Trevor Lawrence first pick. So at least he's starting off the whole thing in the right foot, man.
Well, I'm a Jet fan, so I'm a little bit upset about that. I kind of think the Jets needed Trevor a little more than the Jaguars, but I won't go there. But now, one thing about Urban Meyer, I'll tell you, is his dedication to, obviously Tim Tebow has his Night to Shine event for special need kids, and we go every year, and we've been involved with it for the last 5 years. And he spends so much time with the kids. They all set up in the last hole areas. And, he spends so much time with each and every kid, just like you do, Swish. Everybody who gets to meet you, and I know you did a fantasy camp a couple of years ago. Like, everybody's got a memory. When you're doing a charity event, everybody comes away like, man, that dude, just like Jim Laritz, one of my other buddies, Johnny Day, same thing. You guys are all in that same class. So I like to hang with guys like you that just give it all.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, I think that all those guys you just mentioned really realized how fortunate they were to be able to have the things that they do in life and to be able to have had the path that they've had. Because let's be honest, man, I mean, in the drop of a hat, things could have changed. And, it could have been somebody else doing it and not myself or Johnny or, Coach Meyer or Jimmy Laritz, or maybe some of the things that people have gone through, right, have really shaped guys to be the men that they want to be, right? So I think all those guys you mentioned right there, I mean, I'd give the shirt off my back to those guys, and I love those guys.
Well, I learned from the master. We met Yogi Berra at the museum 2014, about a year and a half before he passed, and great picture of Rick Cerrone, Sparky Lyle, one of the great events. And we sat upstairs, we had dinner together, Nick, and I just remember how much he said us. And that's a picture. I need to text that to you after the show. That is one of my favorite pictures. and that picture just says it all. You're on your phone, and Yogi's looking at you saying, just like, it's like, but he had that look, and you just entertained him. Mickey Rivers, there were people I could tell you that Yogi just lit up about, and you're one of those players. I sat with him during the 2013 World Series, and remember he just talked on about guy. I think you were coming back. I forget who you played with in 2013.
That was Cleveland. When I signed that contract with Cleveland.
He was mad about that, yes. And I think Lindsay ran into you. I think his granddaughter. You might not remember that.
Of course.
Back then, and we were just hoping you'd come back to the Yankees. You kind of did through Scranton. I seen you down.
Close, bro.
I seen you in Durham. You were that close. You should have been back, but you know what? It's still the same thing. You had a tremendous career, and Yogi Berra. I mean, what did his influence mean to you as well? Because I know.
Huge. I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest human beings I've had the honor and pleasure to ever meet. And for myself, I garnered that relationship and established that relationship with Yogi about 5 o'clock in the morning over coffee. Him and Gator. Gator is my adopted uncle, and Yogi Berra was my adopted grandfather. So I think for myself to be able to sit down with legends like that, and to be able to share stories and to talk about things, and I think the one thing that I really, really appreciated the most about Yogi was the way he could just simplify life and just be happy and just want to give back. And for me, I mean, I got one of the greatest batting tips I've ever received in my life came from Yogi Berra, and it happened during 2010 spring training. I was really scuffling a little bit. I was swinging at balls in the dirt and change-ups and breaking balls and everything. And Yogi looked at me in the most simple way possible and said, "Nicky, just move up in the box a little." And so I was like, you think that's all I need to do is just scoot up in the box? I'm just getting dominated out there. He said, "Just move up in the box about this much." And I moved up in the box. And I mean, 2010 was my all-star year. I mean, bro, I was banging. I was hitting barrels all year long that year. So to be able to get such a simple tip, it wasn't all about my spine angle and the way I was attacking the ball. It was just move up in the box about 3 inches. And that changed my career. I mean, it changed my year that year and really, really got me on track. And anytime I really scuffled, I would think about moving around in the batter's box, not necessarily altering with my swing. And that was something that Yogi taught me and something I'll never, ever forget. But just to be able to have the relationship with him and Joni and Lindsay and, you know, I mean, the entire Barra family. I mean, come on, bro. They like brought me into their family. It's such a blessing because I love them. And to be able to have relationships like that, I just feel like I'm so lucky, bro. Like I must have just been around the right place, the right time, because I've had some killer relationships and people that have marked me for life. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be the man that I am today.
Yeah, that was another charity event with Don Mangley and John Franco, Laritz a couple of years ago. But I'm blessed to, you know, Yogi and Gator, you know, I wore number 49 in all those Yankee camps. And I tell you, in 2013, I had this great Yankee camp where I was on fire. You know, those, you know, where you can't get out. I know it's fancy camp, but I was on a streak. And Yogi, you know, I went back. I was at the museum about a week later after the November camp. And he asked me, he wanted to know all my stats. Lindsay would pass it to him, and I got a triple. I got all these things. And he goes, "You didn't get a home run?" I'm like, "Yo, come on. I got a triple." Like, and I said, "It was Bucky's fault." I blamed it on Bucky. I said, "Bucky sent me home. It would have been inside the park home run, but I didn't want to." And he's like, "No," you know, so he gave me a look, but he just, he was like almost like another grandfather to me. I got to spend a lot of time, you know, his last couple of years. So I suck at golf. I go to golf outings and I just hang with Yogi on the porch at that Montclair Golf Club and just watch. And it was really cool just to have that time, all the time with him. And he had a photographic memory. He can go back to 1946, what picture he faced. And it was amazing. He couldn't remember what he did yesterday, but he could remember 1946. And I just remember those. Oh my God, at it.
You're so right. You're so right.
Well, Gator too. Them two is a friendship. I mean, that book, you know, Driving Mr. Yogi. I mean, Ron Guidry. I grew up idolizing him, and to get to know the man, as you know, you learned, and seeing them together was just amazing. I used to go see them at dinner together, and they were a comic duo. They just had a reality show of those two. You could, in Tampa, especially the Tampa story, were off the hook, man. Oh, it was great stuff. So, but you know what? It was to have a cool thing in common. I was blessed to do an Old-Timers Day. It was in Scranton for Brian Doyle Day because Brian has Parkinson's, and you've seen Brian at some of the Old-Timers Day. We did a special event 5 years ago. It was on Father's Day. My girls were there in Scranton, and I actually did something against Jeff Nelson. I'm going to see a clip in a minute, and you had an Old-Timers Day moment as well a couple of years ago. We're going to see who had the better one, and we're going to see, let the audience decide. I think you might have beat me on this one, but we'll see. Let's see if we can roll that clip.
Let's roll it. I'm ready.
They always do that scouting report. We did say the Bombers were loaded.
Swisher out to right, towering drive. Will it reach the seats? Oh, second deck. Come on.
Swish, you were pretty excited there. I don't know. I've never seen anybody more excited to run the bases than you. It looked like the natural Robert Redford. It looked like the scene out of that, the way you ran those bases. I think you beat me on that. You got the home run. But now, girls, did you see Daddy get that hit when you were there?
No.
They were on their phones, but they were there live.
Oh, yeah.
I played the clip 100,000 times, and I'll tell you, I got all the stuff with girls, but it's all good. They've seen the clip so many times, go over and over those, but it's all good. And Nelly, you know, we remind him every so often, and I'm sure if I ever get in the box against him, I'm going to get one right between the eyes.
Oh, bro,
that's okay.
Up here, bro, up here.
Well, he saved me a lot of fantasy camp money because I used to do those fantasy camps. I'll tell you what, after that hit, I said, I did the real thing. I'm 1-for-1 as a major leaguer. My own Hall of Fame. I never have to do anything. But how was a fantasy camp? You did that a couple. I even gave you some tips, I think. We ran into each other at ICAP Charity Day, and I warned you about the fantasy camp, the kangaroo court. So how was that, just doing the whole thing with those guys, all the old timers?
I think it was awesome. I mean, any opportunity that I get to put the uniform on again and give back and to be part of the game, then I'm in, dude. Sign me up. You know, I'm doing a lot of work now with a lot of young kids and some amateur teams, which is great. To being able to help this this young group, it's been a lot of fun for me, man. I got a lot of love for this game, and you know, I got to find ways to get it out. So to be able to be here in the Tampa area has been amazing. I've met a lot of young athletes and doing my best to try and help them achieve everything they want to.
Cool, that's awesome. I mean, and Johnny Damon, I know you guys have an interesting relationship too. So I think you crossed paths early in your career. I think when you were signed, when Johnny was on Oakland, wasn't there something where he went to another team? I think that's when he signed with the Red Sox. I think you took his spot potentially when they signed you. Is that kind of how I have it?
No. So when Johnny signed the deal to go with the Red Sox, the A's got a compensation pick.
That's right.
It just so happened to be the 16th pick of the draft, and that's what they picked me. And so me and Johnny, we go way back, man. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Being able to be together with the Yankees and be able to win a World Series together in 2009, and he lives in Orlando here. I'm in Tampa. To be able to see him now, I'm going to his charity event here in the next couple of weekends. So I think
I'm with you. We're going to be together.
That I'll have for life, man.
Well, I'm going to see you there because I'm there at that event every year. I'm part of that. I didn't know you were definitely. I was going to ask you if you were going because I know you're on the West Coast all the time. But I'm glad I'm going to see you there, and we'll drink some.
Yeah, I'm a last minute fly-in. I'm a last minute fly-in guy.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're coming. That's going to be. I can't wait for that. That's in 2 weeks in Orlando. So yeah, I'm excited about that. At my first event last time I was out, these girls, we were at Johnny's house in March 15th. I think that's when the pandemic happened. I'm like,
I was going to say right around when everything started shutting down.
Yeah, I was at spring training and I said, let's just stay at Johnny's house. I don't want to go home to Raleigh because I love his house. I'm sure you've seen it. It's like, okay, pool, movie theater. I'm like, girls, I don't want to drive back, I think. But we had the dog to come back to, so we had to make it back to I'll tell you what, Kelly always have an invite to spend time with Johnny and his kids and the dogs. And but yeah, I can't wait to get back down there. I'm going to drive, and obviously being 10 months holed up like this has been tough on all of us. But yeah, no, you and Johnny, like I said, you guys are so similar, and that's why he's been such a great mentor to Kelly. I know the way I want to talk about your charity work is, I mean, your commitment. I got to tell you, Swish, what I've seen you do for St. Jude's. I want to talk about that in a minute. Because one thing I want to share, and I was witness to this, is a couple of years ago we were doing an event. You were booked to come in December 2018 for the ICAP charity day to help St. Jude's. President Bush passed away. I had to call Carolyn Sparico and say, look, we got to do this on another day. You're on the West Coast. You had a busy schedule that week, and I don't want to put you on the spot and embarrass you, but you took everything off your schedule and you said, I'm going to make it. You didn't want to let any of those St. Jude kids down. You were there, and you were there early in the morning like you always are at these events. And I think that Don Manley was with me, and we had a great day. But the fact that you had that commitment, you could have said, look, I'm busy. I got a lot of stuff in my calendar. That is the kind of person you are, which is really like so special. That was actually that was a selfie before we took selfies. I think now selfies are a thing. That was I think it was my selfie. I think it was with you, Swish. But but also the charity. When you started Swish's Wishes, I think you had your own charity years ago. You started with children facing health crises. That was really cool. And I think you had a children's music album, if I remember correctly. You got to explain that one.
Yeah. Number three on the iTunes chart, baby. Number 3.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Did you sing, or you would just recruited other people? I know some.
I'm not saying I'm no Adele, bro, not at all. Okay. But I'm not bad. I'm not bad.
All right, we'll have to dig it up on the iTunes. I want to play some Johnny's golf outing. You're going to be harassed on the golf course with a couple.
All right, man, that sounds good.
But that was great that you did that, and obviously, so how'd you get connected to St. Jude's as an ambassador? Because I mean, they love you. I mean, we've had so many Patrick Warburton, so many different people over the years. I will tell you that the Charity Day coordinators at Cannon Fitzgerald, Edie Lutnick, and the people at ICAP, they love you. I mean, when you're there, you wore the Cannon Fitzgerald.
Yeah, that's right. They gave me a trainer jacket.
They did. You and Lyrics are their guys.
I mean, bro, I'm a very loyal guy. And loyalty means a lot to me. And, I'm one of those guys, like, you give me a hug, I mean, I'll run through a brick wall for you. That's always just been who I am. And, everybody over at ICAP, I mean, it's like total love. They just gave me this love, and we just developed this amazing relationship. And to be able to, build up my relationship also with St. Jude, kind of started with one of my best buddies, Fisher Pence, who works for the organization, and to be to all the things that St. Jude does, and the fact that it doesn't matter what you are or where you come from, you don't pay a single cent. And to be able to have that is absolutely unbelievable. So for myself, that's where most of my charity work goes these days. They have this magic wall at St. Jude over at the hospital. And, you know, some people like Michael Strahan and Jennifer Aniston, and you know what I'm saying? I want to be up on that wall one of these days, bro. I'm grinding to get up on that wall. So hopefully if I can
the fundraising you've done, dude, is amazing.
World and continue to keep helping, you know, one of these days that'll happen.
We also support our troops. You and Joanna, you went over to Afghanistan, I believe, like about 10 years ago, supporting our troops too. So the military, you know, John, just like you and Johnny's so alike, man, because St. Jude's and all the work he does for that, for the troops. I mean, you guys do a lot of the same causes as well, which is so amazing. I think you guys are like brothers from another mother, because there is a lot in common there. So what took away that experience going overseas? I mean, I've been to Dubai, but I've never been to Afghanistan.
You know,
country.
Yeah, I mean, that was no joke. I mean, like you said, I mean, we got invited to go over to see the troops during, no, that was 2010 during the season by, at the time, the Undersecretary of the Army, Dr. Westfall. And to be able to have that opportunity, I mean, dude, I jumped at the idea, right? I'm like, I want to go. I mean, these are the people that give us the ability to walk out in our streets and to be able to be free and to be the home of the brave and one of the greatest country on the planet. And it takes people to give you that. And for myself, my grandfather was a military man, and I wanted to do everything that I could, because I don't know if I could do what they do. I don't know if I could be on the front lines, you know, risking my life. I don't know. So for myself and for my wife, Joanna, we want to give back as much as we can to be able to have that ability to go over to, you know, Afghanistan for, you know, 4 nights was, I mean, scary, amazing, all that stuff. And just to be able to go over there and give them somebody different to look at for a hot minute, you know, it was an honor for us to be over there.
Yeah, well, you do so much like that. You know, you did a cool thing. You know, Kelly, her Sweet 16 a couple of years back. I got Brett Michaels. I got all these guys that do like shout outs. And I approached you. I said, hey, we're at the charity day. Can you do a quick one? I think we got the clip of that. I wanted to share that. And it blew us away. So let's see if we got that clip from.
Is it on?
Yep, we're good.
Kelly, it's your boy Swish. Just want to say congratulations, 16 years old. I hope you have an amazing birthday. Believe me, 16's amazing. You're gonna love it. Have an awesome day.
All right, thanks.
That was amazing, brother. So listen, this girl here, she turned 16.
Look at my salad, Brian, the park.
Yeah, that was great, man. You lit up. I mean, everybody loved that clip. And Jenna's birthday, Sweet 16, is going to be for her next weekend. So I don't know if you can top that, but if you're going to do another, hey, Jenna, it's your Sweet 16, I don't know. But there you go, Jenna. There's your birthday shout out for you. See if we can
top it, bro. We'll see if we can get that.
All right. Sounds good, man. But yeah, love what you do, Nick. I mean, like I said, your commitment to charity and, you know, look, you retired from baseball at, what was it, 34? You were still a young man, but you're still look like you can get up there and play again, man. So you ever regret leaving when you did? I mean, you had a great career, won a World Series, played in New York. Talk about New York City, too, just what the city meant to you. I know you obviously had stops at other teams, Cleveland, but I think New York will always be in your heart, and that's who you are.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I mean, you know, New York lives in me. It is a part of me. I feel like I was almost like I was bred in the Bronx, right? Like I'm not even from New York, but I rep New York. I feel like it changed who I am. It gave me a relationship that I've never been able to find before, and that's not a knock on Cleveland or Oakland or Chicago or Atlanta. It's not a knock on them. It's just something special happened, and I was one of the fortunate people that got to be able to experience that love that New York has. So for myself, I'm like, wow, bro. I mean, sometimes I got to pinch myself. Now, do I wish I could have played longer? Absolutely, bro. But my knees, it was over after having that double knee surgery, and they peeled both my meniscus, and I was bone on bone. I just turned into a different player. Didn't have the same pop. Couldn't spin on it the way I wanted to. And then from there, bro, when you're getting your knees weekly drained, you know, with these big like turkey baster needles getting jammed in your kneecaps every night to take out the fluid so you can just get on the field the next day. it really starts to take the fun away from the game. And for a guy like me, that's the only thing I did with the game is love it and had fun with it. And when that started to really take away from me, I think it was time for me to roll out.
Yeah, I'll have to share with you in a couple of months. I'm boxing Jerry Cooney in a charity boxing match, and I'm in there training at 49 years old, be 50 this year. And all those injuries I had, shoulders, the knees, everything, it hurts. And I'll tell you what, there's a time after this boxing match, I'm just taking up golf full time, no more anything.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait to just get on that course. And that's all I'm going to do because it does catch up to you. And getting in the ring at this age, it's going to hurt. And charity hurts sometimes. And
sometimes, bro.
Yeah, he's gonna hurt me pretty bad, but we'll see. But hey, I really appreciate you coming on, Swish.
Of course, man. Absolutely.
Our next segment we're gonna have, and you're welcome to stay on. I mean, we have New York Giant Mark Collins. We're talking about high school football in New York City.
Yeah.
And what's happened. And Mark has an organization, and my friend George Lanese, my college football teammate, and one of my high school football guys too. They're all in New York City, and we have this high school football that's been impacted by the pandemic. And these guys, these poor kids can play right now. So you're welcome to stay on with us. I know you got the football games, and I haven't got a score update on whether Tampa pulled it out, but
I know. I got to go check it out.
Yeah,
I flew out to Ireland tonight, so I got the girls by myself. So
I totally get it. No, do your thing, man. I'm going to see you. Yeah, I'm going to see you in 2 weeks. We're going to have some good times down in Orlando, and then we got David Ortiz's event on in Tampa.
Yeah.
I hope you go to that as well. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, but thank you so much, Swish.
All right, Mike. Good to see you, Jenna, Kelly. Good to see you guys.
Bye.
Have a good night. See ya.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks, Swish. So we got our friend, actually four of my friends that are coming on the show next, and we're going to probably bring them on at the same time because it's a very similar theme about high school football. And Mark Collins, great friend of mine over the years. There he is, Mark, two-time New York Giant Super Bowl champ, played for the Chiefs and the Packers. I'm not sure who's winning the game right now, but we'll see. We'll get that score update in a minute. He was a second-round pick out of Cal State Fullerton. He has a great organization called 25 Sports. My college football teammate, roommate, George Lanese. He's got About You New York City. And my high school brother, Daniel Landberg, who's coaching Erasmus High School for the last 25-something years, the best high school coach ever in New York City. And we want to bring those guys on. And Musa Kane as well, who's a high school football player right now. Is going to probably go to either Purdue. We're going to find out where. There's all these guys. So welcome to the show, guys. And you all look good in different locations. Mark, you're in the West Coast. George, you're in New York. And so Musa and Danny, right?
What's happening, guys?
Hey,
Yeah, I'm in Southern Cal.
Yep. Well, I want to show a video of Mark real quick. I'm in the football spirit tonight and show who Mark is for any of you young viewers out there who didn't see number 25 play in his prime. But let's see if we can roll a clip of number 25, Mark Collins. Well, there's Tuna, man. Love Tuna. So, Mark, you had a great career and playing for Coach Parcells. We'll get into that in a minute. But your organization, 25 Sports, you're all about taking recruiting to another level, which is a great theme with what George has done and what everybody on the show has been all about. So, but I think all the work, Mark, that you've done since your post career amazing stuff, and want to talk about that. But also George Lanese, we have a lot of history together from Albany Great Danes. You were a roommate of mine. Don't tell these girls any of those stories of what I did in college. I want to know about that. Oh God, I had that crazy earring too. I mean, that was one of those crazy earrings in back in the day. We looked so young back then, 19, 20 years old, and back in the day. Danny and I go back even younger. I mean, Danny, I think I played Beverly Boys baseball. We went to Camp Leah together. You know, his sister was in my grade every year. So I got a lot of history with you. We're not going to go show old pictures of you, Danny, so I'll try not to embarrass you. But yeah, George, I want to talk a little bit about you, New York City. I shared that with Mark, and I think what you have done in the last couple of years, making that transition from the corporate banking world to high school coaching and creating this outlet for, and you got a kid like Musa who's been, and his brother who have benefited from it. So I want to show a clip of about you, New York City.
Coaches Alex Coombs and George Lanese have built a movement in New York City football called About You. It's a program that's putting just as much focus on building the minds of high school athletes as it is their bodies. Coombs started a career training athletes.
It doesn't matter where you are in terms of your genetic ability.
Meanwhile, George Lanese was teaching and coaching football.
It's repetition. Fundamentals, technique, repetition.
With Coombs training and Lanese tutoring and coaching, the program has produced hundreds of college scholarship offers to New York City kids.
Without them, I wouldn't be here right now.
Lanese leads the program's SAT prep course.
This whole program is about building you up to be the best player you can be.
David Nwagwu was starting his senior year at DeWitt Clinton High School.
Ironically, I got the offer when I was in the gym.
And the former Cardinal Hayes star, Sanusi Kane, is heading to Purdue University to play defensive back in one of the biggest conferences in the sport.
The academic really was the thing that set off my entire recruiting process.
Training, studying, colleges noticed, scholarship offers.
Everyone here has the same goal to play at the next level.
Whether it's academics or athletics or just being a better person, anything that'll get you better for life, whether it's with football or with another sport.
And everybody's seeing the results, and now that we have our own space, we can just do whatever we want.
We're all about no labels. You can be anything you want to be.
Awesome stuff. I love this shirt. I got the about, and I cut the sleeves off. Sorry, George, but you know I cut all my sleeves on my shirts. But I got that as well. But love what you're doing, and I want to talk to you a minute about that transition. But Danny as well. Danny, you've been a coach, for 25. You look like you're 25 years old still. This guy has the fountain of youth totally out of all our guys from the high school. But you've been coaching for so many years. You turned Erasmus High School in Brooklyn, which was notoriously probably the kids couldn't even afford uniforms back in the day. Turned the program around. They are, in the last 10 years, you've been in the city. You've won 3 championships. You're in every year Yankee Stadium. Mark, you were there a couple of years ago watching Danny's team. I think they lost that one by a point, if I remember correctly. But that was a cold night. Mark was in a nice warm box, and I'm on. Me and Danny were like. Not going there. But yeah, I mean, he's turned so many of these athletes from high school to really men, not just getting to college, but just becoming, obviously, Curtis Samuel, you know that name. Danny coached him. But these kids, this is the model of what a high school coach should do, is prepare these kids for life. And that's what, George, you're doing with Musa, giving him the life skills that he needs so that one day, if there isn't pro sports in his future, he can do something else with his so that's what's amazing, I think, with Bonds, everything you guys are doing. And I want to talk a little bit about what's been happening in high school. We know there's been a lot going on in obviously New York City high school football. Kids aren't playing, and I know there's a lot of frustration because these kids are missing out on opportunities that they should be given. So, George, I'll kick it off to you just in terms of how you're dealing with this for your program. I know it's a rally a couple of weeks ago. You're working with Danny. You have a call soon tonight with the borough president, soon to be mayor of New York City, to try to do something about it. But talk a little bit about how this has impacted you.
Well, the biggest impact has been that the inequality of it all is that New York City public school students don't have any sports. The suburbs and the private schools do. So it's the inequality that we're focused on, and we're focused on the mental health and the physical health of people in New York City, because we've all known as the quality of life has gone down substantially. And there's a big difference between living in the suburbs versus living in an apartment and not being able to go outside and be with your players, your teammates, your coaches, and so forth. So when we focus on the best to mitigate stress, but also focus on academics, one thing has popped out during this is that those that did get recruited are the kids with the higher academics. So what we've always focused on as an organization and when I was a coach was that your elite student athlete is going to be your best player. And Moose, who's on the call right now, is one of those kids. His brother that you saw in the video, Sanusi, he had a 1370 on the SAT, was a 90 student. He's at Purdue. Musa right now had 1310 as a sophomore. And what we're trying to do is start with kids earlier, focusing on the academic standpoint, because the discipline you have in the classroom can translate in the field. And you're seeing, historically, Mark knows, a position, defensive backs, where we're always told that defensive backs weren't as smart. Our defensive backs have 1400s on the SAT.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was crazy. They said that. That's because they weren't focusing. The adults were not telling the kids to focus on academics. And they were saying that defensive back is like, just go cover that guy. Well, Musa knows that more important than anything else, it's fundamentals. And fundamentals, whether it's in the classroom or on the field, translate in life. And that's what we teach. Fundamentals in the classroom, whether it's reading, writing, math, weight room, and then onto the field. And then it's hard to follow up Swisher, man. He was so energetic on this. But what he said Monday night that was incredible about the Yogi Berra thing, the 6 inches, where he said move up in the box, not your spine angle. That's it. You don't change your technique, and that's the problem with coaching. When you have a coach, a different coach every year, changing your fundamentals, you don't get enough reps. And what we've seen right now is that all we can do is focus on the positive, and that's what we're doing with Danny, is trying to create change in New York City, because New York City football has been a great outlet for opportunities in college. And taking that away from kids, to me, is a crime.
Absolutely. Mark, talk about your experience with your kids, obviously, and the importance of academics. I mean, any advice you can impart, because I know, obviously, what you've done with your organization is take recruiting to that next level as well. And I think also the coaches you've had, Mark, in your career, you've had Bill Parcells, you've had some great coaches, and I think that's what someone like Danny is. And finding those mentors, and I think that's what all these kids need, is having that right. I was lucky I had an ex-coach in my high school. He was Al Arbies in Midwood, who did a lot for me. Everyone needs that person to take them to the next level. So talk about your, Mark, when you were playing pro ball, even college and Cal State Fullerton, who were those guys that helped you along the way to where you got to?
Well, I tell you what, Michael, my parents really helped me a lot. My parents and my siblings. I was very blessed to have a very good family, a good relationship with my parents and my brothers and sisters. But on the next level, you're talking about what I do with kids. I give at 25 Sports, we give the student athlete the opportunity for exposure for sports scholarships. And I tell you, if you give a kid just the simplest word, hope, you give a kid hope to get a scholarship, to use athletics, to get an education, they will do anything. They love it. They want that opportunity to be successful. No matter what school you go to, they want that opportunity. And that's what we've done over the last pretty much 10 years, working with a lot of school districts. And as a matter of fact, 2 years ago, Michael, we sponsored, one of the sponsors for the PSAL championship game last year.
Yeah,
so trying to still work with those guys, but we work with also right now 15 school districts nationwide. And we know what the recruiting process entails. We know that a lot of parents don't know about the recruiting process. We also know that certain coaches will only help their star players get recruited. And those guys and girls really don't need that help. We want to help the backup catcher on the women's softball team, the backup quarterback. We want to give everybody the opportunity for exposure for sports scholarships. So we do a pretty good job getting that out there to the masses. I go around the country, speak in school districts and schools about the importance of opportunity, doing the right thing, and always be ready when the opportunity comes to you. You don't know what's going to come, but it's going to be there, and you got to be prepared for it. And that's what we do.
Yeah, it's changed so much in the last 30-something years. I laugh. I showed my girls some of my recruit. I used to write my own back when we had typewriters. And they used to have these questionnaires from the big colleges, University of Florida, and I used to inflate all my stuff. I said I'm 6'3", 200, I ran a 4'9". It was all BS. I'm confessing, but boy, man, I got Galen Hall calling me hey, you got to come down. I mean, I got those things. It's pretty funny, but I had to do my own like initiative. I didn't have someone to help, and that's what these kids need. And it's obviously online profiles. I look at all the sophistication of recruiting back in the day. It was just really like a questionnaire you fill. You get a call from a defensive coordinator, Terry Donahue, was like, man, this guy, how is a guy 6'3", 240 pounds, runs a 4.6, and it was that wasn't me, but I pretended it. But it was amazing that kind of that's how it was back in the day. So, but Danny, talk a little bit about yourself and your kids. Curtis Samuel's great success story, but you've had so many success stories. It's not just Curtis; it's all those kids at Erasmus. I think every one of them graduates, they go to college. When I see these recruitment days and I'm on your Facebook page, seeing what you've done and turned that program around in the last, and you're too humble to admit it, so I'm going to say it out there. I've never seen a high school football coach do as much for his kids as you have done. And I think all your real friends, we all know that. George has been witness to it too. So talk about how you got this connection with these kids and what you're trying to do to get them to the next level as well.
I mean, I just think it's just being honest and straight up. I think that you want to, you ask these kids to do so many things for you and, run through a brick wall, you need to show that love in return. That's probably what our number one recipe is for winning. Obviously talent is great to have, but, you got to bring all that talent together. And I think that we're very personable with our players. We show how much we care, and we delve into their personal lives and their family lives, parents, and making sure everybody is good. It's not just them, but everybody that's in their lives around them. Because if somebody in their lives is not doing well around them, then I can't get the kid to have a clear sense of attention. So we really get involved with these kids on a personal level, just like we would with our own children. Probably how we like to equate it, like we want to treat them as they are our own. So we've been around these kids for a long time, and we're in the streets with them. I mean, I'm born and raised in Flatbush, Brooklyn, just like them. And we can relate, we can understand, and we stay in their lives well past high school, and we stay in their lives through college, and even past college, and their grown-up lives, and trying to make sure that they become professionals in whatever world they choose, and become great fathers, take it to another level and pay it forward. So that's really what it's about.
Yeah, your alumni network is. We can't talk about Vegas. I think that picture was Vegas. We got to leave those stories in Vegas. But Danny, like your coaching acumen is something I bear witness to it. It's one of the most incredible stories that I've ever seen. I think it redefined New York City high school football. It takes us to another level. Urban Meyer, the connections you made on a college level. I think we have a clip of Coach Meyer to share just to show how much respect he has for you. When I see Coach Meyer at an event, he's talking about Danny Landberg, not about Mike Dempsey. So let's see if we have.
Hey, Danny, I'm here with Coach Meyer.
My boy Danny, congrats on a great season as always. Can't wait to see you. And I'm sure I'll see you next couple weeks. Congrats, bro.
Pretty cool, man. I just love every time I see him, he's always asking about how you're doing. So, by the way, Bucks won 31-26. So it's going to be a fun time. Mark, I see you every year. This might be the first year in like 9 years I'm not going to see you.
I know, man. I know. I get out every year, but I can't make it this year because the COVID thing and just things are pretty much. Tampa's going to be closed down. It's not going to be the big fervor of partying. So, and I can even go to Vegas this year. So, but I miss you, buddy. I'm going to miss you.
I know. It's a tradition we have every year at Ditka's event. But next year it's going to be in Los Angeles, so we'll do it out on the West Coast, and it'll be even better. But everybody got to stay safe. But back to Danny, to what you just said, too, I think what you've done with these kids. And Musa, want to focus on you for a minute. I mean, you're in high school. What is about you, New York City, what George has done and for your brother, for you, what does that mean in terms of your SAT scores and what giving you the life skills, not just the football skills? I mean, great defensive back. I was witness to George in college, and man, never had to find a defensive back than George. But what are the other things that you learned from a mentor like George or Coach Lanese?
So about you, this is not just about football. It's mainly about giving kids opportunities that they usually wouldn't have if they didn't join About You. Like this Tuesday we have a RDC meeting, which a couple of my friends are going to become interns for them, which could lead them to them getting a high paying job. So I believe that basically prepares you for the next 40 years instead of just the next 4 years.
That's
Cool.
great.
That's good.
Good. What do you want to say, George? You got something he's
I was
not
just going to
sharing with
say is
us?
that it also so happens that Musa is going to be a top 100 recruit in the country too.
Yes.
He's a 6'2", 180-pound corner that is. His brother already jumps 43 inches. He has a 10'5" broad jump. So he's the whole package, and he comes, like Mark was saying, a great family. And I want to reiterate what Mark said. It's as simple as what he said, giving hope and believing in kids. It just starts there. And then the kids in New York City that, you know, they have more fight in them than most kids. And if you can just give them a little and believe in them and don't set limits, there's no limit on what they can do. And Mark, and listen, Sanusi and Musa are a perfect example. They're going to be two kids that are top 1% academics, but on the football field, they have potential to be first-round draft picks in the future.
Yeah.
So how many first-round draft picks could be working on Wall Street at the same time? And when he was saying RBC, he's talking about Royal Bank Canada. We have monthly meetings with them to get kids to hear about things that they're not used to hearing in their community. A lot of the barriers that we're seeing within New York City is not intelligence, it's not ability, it's information. So we're just trying to give kids the information and connecting them to the opportunities through giving them the information at an early age. So once they get in that situation, it's not new to them. And you can see Musa, he already speaks better than I do on shows like this. He's an exceptional young man. I consider him and his brother family. That just fortunate that my life path crossed his.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Well, Mark,
That's awesome.
Mark, your organization too, Mark 25 Sports. I mean, I know you've had some success stories there. How gratifying is it when you see these young men turn into adults? I mean, it's gotta be
Man,
great.
it is awesome. It's awesome when I still get invited to come to speak to kids, male and female. I mean, it's pretty cool when I get invited to come talk to NFL draft class. I spoke to the Kansas City draft class 2 years ago. I spoke to those guys about what it is to be a professional, all this stuff. I'm in Huntington Beach, California now, from San Bernardino, California. I go to the area a lot and speak to kids and everything about giving back to your community. But Musa, I will tell you this, if I'll give you just a little bit of advice, always be yourself. Believe in yourself and don't let anybody put you in a box. Don't be marginalized. Man, the world is your oyster. You do whatever you want to. As long as you keep a solid mind and an open heart, you'll be just fine.
That's great. And Danny, so what about like I know I want to get political about how this pandemic has, what's been going on with the city officials. I'm not going to go there. We don't make any politics in this show, but talk about how frustrating it is. And without kind of getting into what's really transpired, how do you think you can move forward and give these kids an opportunity to kind of regain their senior years and junior years? What do you do now? I mean, I know it's been a lot going on.
Well, it's frustrating because we're just in a wait and see situation right now. And, I have a meeting in a little while. I got to get over to up. But, at the end of the day, it's a very sad situation today in New York City and many other places, of course. But, to be able to not be able to show their talents and colleges not know, who can they trust to believe that the kid is that good or something. And, it's also a tough situation because all the kids in college right now that were given next year of COVID red shirt, there's going to be less scholarships to go around regardless if we play or not. So it's a really tough situation. The really elite will find themselves in a situation to get a scholarship. And everyone else is going to be kind of screwed, to be honest with you. So I would kind of answer that the Division II and the Division III level schools are going to be picking up some good-looking kids because it's not going to be availability to get picked up this coming year in Division I.
Like musical chairs. Yeah, it's like musical chairs. It is. I went through a situation just this year with my son. He just graduated from University of South Dakota, and he's going to grad transfer to another school. Well, University of South Dakota kind of messed up on his papers, and we didn't know that until another school told us about it, which that's a bone I got to call NCAA, which if you're in the transfer portal, you don't have access to look at your own paperwork, which is, I think, is dumb. But this one coach told us about it, and we had to contact University of South Dakota. They contacted NCAA and fixed that situation. Long story short, as Danny was talking about, my son got looks at BYU, Colorado State, Utah, Hawaii, but they pulled back because of that mistake. So he got on to Towson State. Now it's another FCS school, but he took that because everything's pretty much drying up since the NCAA have given extra year to college seniors, and you had an influx of freshmen coming in who need scholarships. So I call it musical chairs. If you don't have a position now at this point, it's almost too late to get a scholarship for 2021.
Mark, didn't one of your teammates in the Giants, Towson State, I'm trying to think, was it Landetta? Somebody had.
We had two, Greg, Dave, and also Sean Landetta. But that's really it, Danny. And I tell you, I'm spot on. The room is tightened up in the FCS and FBS Division I. What's going to open up now? You're going to have some great athletes at Division II and Division III. That's going to work. And plus, there's going to be some kids at the junior college level who want to go that route to go to a Division I program.
That's definitely for sure. The JUCOs as well. They're going to be getting some good-looking players, not even because of grade deficiency, because they want to take their talents to Division I. JUCO route. Yeah, absolutely.
But George, how do you see about you in New York City? Obviously, you've been at the forefront of you did a rally. I mean, what are you looking to do? I know your mission and goals are impacted by what's happening right now. Obviously, for Mooser as well. Like, how do you see yourself kind of redefining your brand, and now in the middle of this wait and see?
We've been very fortunate that we've partnered with a lot of like-minded people. So I think next week I'm meeting with people from Deutsche Bank where I used to work. So a lot of people are coming together right now for the greater good. So we're going to be positioned a lot better in the future as far as taking the next step. Our first step was college readiness and using sports and training to get kids to focus on academics. But our next step is going to be jobs and generate and wealth creation. So we're now focused more on the job side. College readiness, we're going to attack that by partnering with the Harlem Jets. So we're starting with kids at a younger age. So to get the kids from the academic side, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and work our way down to 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So on the front end, partner with youth programs. On the back end, partnering with corporations, and we're launching a mentorship program in April with a lot of mentors that are former student athletes that are usually successful, so they can help kids, guide them through the planning process. And also, which I found the easiest way to get kids to focus on their grades is to check their grades. So having kids checking grades on people checking grades on a regular basis and helping kids out. I was even thinking about going out a mentorship with just giving kids a study buddy, because right now kids are just having trouble just even doing work because they're sitting in front of a screen for 8 hours a day. And I can relate to that. There's been work that I had to do that I pushed off because it's hard staring in front of a screen for 10, 12 hours a day now. But like Mark and Danny were saying, all we got to do is we as adults have to pivot and figure out ways to be positive for kids. Because the best thing that happened to me this summer was getting back on the field with kids, even though we weren't supposed to be out there, and we're a nonprofit, so I'm not at school. And they're positive. They're happy all the time. They want it. We just got to match the effort and do whatever we can to circumvent this.
Oh, this mental fatigue for all these kids, even Kelly and Jenna, just being out of school. It's I can only imagine for high school athletes that are suffering through just having their seasons lost. But to wrap up on a good note, Super Bowl picks. I know, Danny, you got to go. There's look at that. That was a 19-year-old Mike Dempsey there. He with 2-0 young George there. But who's your Super Bowl picks, Mark? I know you were going for the Packers. I know you played one season for them, probably. The Bucks are there, and I think we got a picture of my guy Pat Mahomes that I'm buddies with as well. But do you think Chiefs tonight or what?
Yeah, I think Kansas City, Tampa. I think Kansas City will win. And plus, I'm with the Chiefs organization, so I got a ring last year. So they win again, I get another ring. So I'm putting for Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's all good. Yeah, no, Pat Mahomes, I've been fortunate enough to meet through Lee Steinberg. He comes to all our events, and Lee, Pat knew his dad, pitcher for the Mets, and such a good kid, role model. Just like the kids we mentioned, like Musa and all these great kids out there. So keep going for it, Danny.
It's hard to go against Pat Mahomes and what he does there over there in Kansas City. I'm gonna bow out, and I'm just gonna take the 90 Giants, man. The 90, yeah. Growing up in New York, growing up, man, 2-5. I mean, we loved you. We appreciate you. We're well respected, and we know everything about those teams. There's so many things that you think about those guys from those days that you bring to the table today's, with our players today. But I'm not 90 Giants all the way.
Appreciate that. That's nice.
Marcel 26, the Chiefs nothing. There you go. I'm kidding. But what do you think, George? 30 seconds got to wrap up.
Chiefs and Brady, but Mark, wasn't the 90? Is that the 90 Giants, the team that beat? I think shut out the 49ers in the playoffs.
Oh, that was the
49ers.
That was our 86 Giants.
86
Yeah.
Giants. I remember that game. That was the best defensive game I've ever saw. I was a little kid. Musa, if you talk about hitting back then, that was real hitting.
49-3. I think they beat the 49ers too. I'm not going to go.
But I want to.
You ain't never hit nothing.
All right, guys, this has been tremendous. I know we had a great hour, and you guys are all my friends. And, appreciate support. Anything I can do to help, and we'll keep this topic going on this show. And I hope that these kids get what they need. Musa, I want to be your agent one day, so I'll take 1%, even 2%, 1%. But I just want a piece of his first pro contract. So me and you, Mark, we can represent him. So,
man. Hey guys, if Danny, George, Musa, even yourself, if you guys anything for me, get my number from Michael. Give me a call, man. Let me help you. Musa, good luck to you, man. Keep your head on you, okay? Don't change. Stay you. Stay you. All right.
This show's all about collaboration. That's what it's all about. I'm in with you guys. Great team. Let's go enjoy the game and starting in 8 minutes. And I appreciate you guys all being on the show tonight. Another thanks to Nick Swisher, who was on earlier too. So great show, guys, and speak to you all soon. And Mark, I'll have a drink for you in Tampa.
I'll see you, everybody. Be good.
Thanks,
see you guys.
Guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
Great job, guys. Thanks, Musa.